Hi, hello. I hope everyone's doing amazing out there. And I'm here today because a lot of people ask me about the Riffle Shuffle. Okay, now a tarot deck, they come in different sizes, but they're generally, bigger than a deck of poker cards. Now, I learned on a deck of poker cards, they're smaller, they fit in your hand, and there's only 52 cards as opposed to a deck of 78. So before we move on to the tarot cards, which is what you guys want to shuffle, I know, let's take small bites, okay? So with our poker deck, hasn't even been opened. This actual deck of cards was in play in Fabulous Casino. Okay, well, now we know where those came from. Okay, here we go. Here's our poker cards. Just like that, deck of cards. First thing we do is cut them in half. Now, as equally as possible, right? Doesn't have to be perfect, but more or less. And then you pick up the two halves. Now, when you have the two halves, as you're like this, right? This part is important. You're going to use the top of your finger, your knuckle. So see how that sets, not only does it hold my cards together, I'm pulling the resistance this way, like this, and then with this, it pushes it the other way, and I use my thumb to regulate or determine how that works. Look. Resistance, controlling with the thumb. Now again with the thumb, and then we bend like a little rainbow, right? And the cards move. And again. Okay, now this does get a little bit more challenging. It gets a little more challenging as the size of the deck of cards increases. Now here we have the Radiant Rider-Waite, and this is a really good size deck for me personally. I really dig the size of this deck because, well, it fits nicely in my little hands. It's easy to shuffle. Okay, now the only difference is the cards are getting a little longer, a little bigger, and there's more of them. Okay, so here. See how my fingers are crossed? If I don't cross my fingers, what happens when I bridge to is they go all over the place, and you might have experienced that. So maybe if you try crossing your thumbs. All right, so top thumb, bottom fingers, top thumb. With my pointer finger, see how my knuckle down, okay? I bend and control, let them stack, okay? Now my thumbs cross, I'm holding my entire deck here. I bridge it, and there it goes. Now let's look at some bigger sizes as we go on, all right? Llewellyn's Classic Tarot. Now the cards are getting a little bigger, so this is getting a little more challenging for me. But I'm still just doing the same thing, okay? Cutting the deck in half. Stacking it together nice and neat. I have control of it, right? My finger goes down, cards bow, there's resistance, using the thumbs, and then, good. Now getting bigger. See, now my hands are really starting to stretch out. I'm feeling like max capacity here. I'm still able to do it, but my thumbs are barely crossing. Did you notice that? Let's see. Let's look at the Mary O, because it's a pretty big deck. It's really pretty too. Okay, so with the Mary O deck, I'm getting much bigger here, right? Look at this. I'm barely able to grab them like this. Look at this, I'm maxing out. Right, I'm just maxing out. Okay, that's really difficult. This is what I do. Let's go back to cutting them in half. Now, my hands do fit if I go widthwise rather than lengthwise. I'm gonna come to the top of my cards, and now, look. Right there. Okay. So we do have limitations. Another thing we can do is make the deck smaller. Now look what happens. Right? Okay. So I couldn't get my hands around the entire deck, but once I cut it in half, it wasn't such a problem. And sometimes we just improvise, right? Okay, that's how we do that. And you know, if you have a smaller deck, start with the smaller one. Maybe you don't struggle so much. Look at the ease when I use a deck that fits in my hands. And this isn't even the smallest deck. This is about an average size deck. The Radiant is a little smaller. It's a nice size, like I said. Okay, well, thank you for joining me. Hopefully you have learned something, you're practicing. Catch me next time with whatever it is we're talking about.